Working on the 2003 GMC Yukon 5.3 liter motor. When I was changing the oil the other day, I was under the truck and noticed that my transmission oil cooler lines are leaking where the factory crimped the hose to the line itself. So I am going to try out using this Dremel tool to cut off the factory crimps and then pry at least with the screwdriver. If that doesn't work, I'm going to have to use the tube cutter for plumbing and then go buy a flare to flare out the end so this hose will stay on more solid. So I have my pan to catch any loose transmission oil, have my new hose clamps here, have the transmission oil cooler, some new hose to put on, and I will be trying to use the Dremel tool. Alright, so here is the top part, or the top transmission oil cooler line right here, going into the transmission, or not the transmission, into the radiator. And down here, right here is one of the factory crimps I want to try to cut off. It's a tight fit, so I'm hoping not to cut anything else. And then there's one just below that I don't know if we'll be able to see from here. Let's see, right down in here. My finger is on it there, but I don't know if it's possible to see it. And there's one down here, and then I think this crimp here, both of these crimps are leaking, and then the lower hose, which I can't film right now, is down a ways. And that one might need replacing too. I don't know if this upper one is leaking onto the lower one, but they're both pretty dirty. So I'm gonna try to cut those factory crimps off first. Okay, here I am. I might be able to get some of the cut showing on this just for a little bit, but I want to try to stay focused on not slipping and cutting anything else down in here. So here we go. Alright, there we have it. Alright, so there you can see right in here is where I got the cut, one of the cuts in. I believe I might have to cut it from both sides, but I'm gonna see if I can't fit this, or if I can fit the screwdriver in there at all and loosen it up at all. But my first guess is gonna be it's a little too tight for me to fit anything in here. So I may need to see if I can come in from the bottom, because I don't want to break this solid metal line here when I'm trying this out. Of course, this is something I've never done before. You know, it's one of those things you just try it out and see what happens, and then you go from there. But there's the top part, and I'm gonna see if I get that bottom piece out that we can't see right now, and then I'll get back to you when I take the hose itself off. Alright, so here's the first one that you guys watched me take off, and I managed to get the lower one off without cutting anything else, thank goodness. So how I did that, the lower one, if you look through here, the upper one was right here where the tip of the screwdriver is, and the lower one was down here. Took the Dremel tool here through here. Of course it was turned off at this time. There's a hose right here that I had to go under right there. And right, if you can see where the Dremel tool's at now, see if I can get it right there. That's how I got in to cut that bend. It was right there. And that's how I got into that part. Now that those are off, I will put this away and try to get into the next part. Okay, so here's that hose I was talking about. I'm just gonna hold this pretty steady because this is what's going into the quick connect here into the radiator itself. It's behind this hose that you can't see where it connects in at the moment. But I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna try to give this hose a little pull to see if I can't get it off without breaking something. Alright, and there it is. So the hose came off. There's where the quick connect goes in. That's the piece that was on the hose. So now I'm gonna reach under here and hopefully get this one off without breaking anything. There it goes. All right, and there is, ooh, I need to fix that. So here's the hose that was on there, and the two pieces are right here that it was connected to, and right down in here where my finger is. It's hard to see from this angle. And I'm gonna clean those ends up. I'm gonna cut the hose just slightly longer than this, and I'll be back to you guys in a minute. All right, so here I am again. So my problem was with the new hose, I could not get it to get past this right here, past that little flange right there. I tried putting these pliers into the tube. Let's see here. Tried putting the pliers into the tube like this and stretching out the hose a little bit. But that didn't work. I still couldn't get it past the flange that's on this right here. So what I'm gonna do is I started looking at it more, but see how it has these rivets in there? Those rivets are rough on the side on this side, and this does have a little bow in it to where this is thicker on this side as opposed to down here. So it does have a grip on it, and that grip is on both sides, on the lower piece and the upper piece. So I'm not going to get the hose over the top like I wanted to right there to get a double bracket on it, or a double hose clamp. I will not be able to fit two hose clamps on there because I cannot get it past that. So I'm pretty sure, I didn't know, this is rough right here, so it has the ridges on it to hold it down. So I'm hoping one hose clamp right there around the hose will work. So I'm going to from there take this. Should I have this tight? I'm obviously doing this myself, dropping the camera everywhere. So I'm going to take the old hose length, and I'm going to just copy that length because these were butted right into the flanges. And I'm going to cut off the piece that I'm going to be cutting off the piece that I stuck the pliers into, which was this side, just so if I roughened up the hose on the inside with the pliers, I'll be cutting that piece off. So I'll take my new measurement here, old hose on top, new hose on bottom. I will slide that right into there, and I will clamp down there. And hopefully not slice anything off that shouldn't be in that clamp. Haha, there we go. Alright, so here's my hose. I got the clamps started so I didn't have to mess with those as much, hopefully. And I'm gonna go ahead and connect this bottom portion first. Let's see if I get in here, slide it over. Might have tightened that too much. There it goes. All right, so there's that piece. So that bottom portion's on now. And then the top portion of the hose I will slide on. Of course, I have the world's worst angle for you guys. Try it this way. Worst camera angle with my arm in the way, right? There we go. I'm gonna, of course, pull that all the way into there so it butts up against the flange. Make sure everything, I might have to redo that. Make sure everything is in there well. I wonder if there is a different angle, but my arm was in the way most of the time. But I have the lower part of the hose butted in to this flange here. Let's see. That metal piece there. Oh, and where am I here? There it is, okay. There's this flange here. That's the one I couldn't get over earlier, right there. So I got the bottom one, got the hose butted into that, and make sure. And hopefully I have this hose clamp in the right spot. Need to keep it probably about right there is good. So I will see if I can tighten them in there. Not that you'll be able to see it with my arm in the way most of the time. Right now it's just going by hand. I'll tighten the top one down, maybe. Wow, one click at a time. Woohoo! Go, go. Nice. Yeah, I'll try putting it down this way. Okay. I'm sure you can see a lot of nothing when I'm doing that, except my arm. But I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these down, and from there I will turn it on and see if I have any leaks from this area, either one of these areas. And then if I don't, I'll see if there's still leaks coming out of the bottom hose, because the bottom hose is just, it has fluid all over it. So I assumed both of them were leaking, but I didn't know if this upper one was leaking onto the lower one. So I will have to tighten these on, see if it worked, and then go from there. Alright, so here I am, the motor's warmed up. I don't see any leaks coming out of this connection that I had just finished doing. And so I went underneath to check the other connections. And it appears that I have a leak in that one right there. So my lower hose still has a leak, so I'm gonna have to come under here and start putting that piece out there. And there you have that. Replacing the hose, getting the brackets cut off with the Dremel, and just be careful if you do it with it in the vehicle, because there's plenty down there that if you're not careful you can slice with that Dremel within the second it takes. And I hope all of you have a good day. Thanks for watching.